We're catching up with Rolonda Watts right now. We're streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube for this Friday. I'm Elliot Francis. Thanks for joining us. If you were in front of a television in the 90s, you probably got a look at daytime talk television with names such as Maury, Geraldo, Montel, Sally Jesse Raphael, Oprah, and Rolonda Watts. The Rolonda Show began in 1994, went for about 3 years, and then just disappeared. But it's hosted. She continued on as an author, as an actress, as a radio host, as a voiceover artist, and now a stand-up comedian. She's been a busy diva, but apparently not too busy to join us tonight from her location in Los Angeles. Rolonda, how are you?
Here?
You are there. Yay.
My God.
Jesus Christmas. Hold on a second. Let me get an earphone back in here so I can hear you, for gosh sakes. Well, let's try this again.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody. Hold on. I'm going to hang up there, and I'm going to bring you forward. How the hell are you, girl?
I'm good. I'm a lot better now that we got connected. You know what we used to say back in the day when we did live shots and you needed a whole big truck and you needed hours to set up?
Right.
And we used to say, well, the gremlins get in everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Live shot.
And they still do.
And they still do.
They still do. You're looking lovely tonight. How are you?
Well, thank you. Welcome to my home.
Yes.
Sitting up here doing some piddling around, but thank you so much for having me in here today.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you first of all for putting up with all our setbacks and kindly consenting to do this, gremlins and all.
Gremlins and all.
You know, hey, it's live, like we used to say, it's live TV. But listen, let's get into it. Let's get this train moving. You know, we were talking in the beginning, and when I introed you before the whole thing froze and went to hell in a handbasket, we were talking about the show. We haven't talked in a while. We were talking the other day, probably talked once or twice being in the same industry, but when the show disappeared in, 97 or so, it just kind of like went away. What the hell happened?
Well, we had a great 4-year run, 4 seasons. And, we were very proud of the show that we did. If you recall, we got kids out of gangs. We, we had major celebrities on, but we didn't do the throw in the chairs. We were more concerned about the voice of mothers behind bars being heard and, talking about being gay and being a teenager and bullying and suicide. And we were dealing with really good issues. I had the entire white supremacy and KKK wizard on my show to talk about racism. We talked about gun control. We talked about, so we dealt with families in crisis. We were doing great stuff. And then the era changed. People wanted to see chairs getting thrown and people fighting and spitting on each other. And I could not take the tidal wave of black folks being,
black folks.
I felt exploited in particular. Back then it was just a rough time in television, and I can't argue. We tried it. I mean, I remember one time there was a fight on our set, and we promoted just when they were about to sock each other, and we had 12-point ratings, Elliot. People don't even know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking. That's what I'm saying. I know what you were talking about. You guys were killing it. You're killing it. Yeah.
But that's not the kind of work I want to do.
Okay,
I don't want work like that. And that era was taking over, and we decided to not continue the show. I remember Roger King, the man who founded Rolonda Show and Inside Edition, and American Journal and Oprah, Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy. I mean, he said, he always said to me, he said, keep doing the Lord's work.
Yeah.
And that was an era where that didn't count, and you didn't get ratings doing that. And that was what the public wanted. And listen, and Jerry Springer and those, Maury, they're still printing money.
Yeah,
This isn't what I do. I couldn't go back to Spelman College, Columbia University's Graduate School of Journalism, and my folks and all the people who have fought for me to say that this is what I was going to do with my gift. So we decided to take another route and to leave that. And, maybe one day when people want to talk about those types of issues with each other, then we'll revisit that. But right now, well, I'm into so many other things right now.
I know you are. And I want to talk about that. But before we do, for those of you who just dropped on the planet in the past 20 years, just to give you an idea of what we're talking about, take a look at this. This is what we're just talking about. This is the Rolonda Show. Take a look.
Joining us now is a member of the Dream Team during O.J.'s criminal trial. I'd like everybody to welcome Barry Scheck. Nice to have you, Barry. Really nice to have you. You have been following this right in the mix of it, and now we're in the civil trial. You have seen what happened today. What do you think about what's happening, how the proceedings are going, and especially the events today?
Well, it's very hard, I think, when you're not in the courtroom watching this and we get the reports. I guess Starr is really in the best position to make an assessment. But I think anyone can see that this is going to be a very difficult thing to do, to pick a fair and impartial jury.
There would be no United States of America if we had not donated, involuntarily of course, all that free labor.
And a black man laid out the way that the streets are laid out in the nation's capital, all those things.
Exactly.
But I got to take a quick break. When we come back, and Caprice, I want you to tell that story about the time you were dating that black man and what that black woman said to you, but we'll be right back in a minute. Coming up next, we're going to meet a woman who claims that many white women have only a token black friend just so they can relieve their liberal white guilt. Well, Caprice and Roberta, I'm going to let you get a shot back on that one, too. Am I a token? We'll be right back in a minute.
Yeah, you were so good. Wow.
Some good stuff there.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of good stuff to choose from. So.
And something, those are some of the topics we're still talking about today. I remember those were my good friends, and we were talking about, can black women and white women really get along? We were talking about race issues then. And what's so exciting, too, Elliot, is that we're in a world today where just what you're doing, the streaming, taking things into your own hands, like with Rolonda On Demand, my podcast, and also YouTube. I mean, you can go on YouTube and see some of those old shows and see that, a lot of the topics have not changed.
No, they haven't.
Know where a lot of the people are today.
They haven't. Hey, we've got some folks coming in on chat. I just wanted to send this to you. You probably see it up on the screen. Who is this? Hold on a second. There is, okay. Hold on a second. Trying to bring this up on chat. A little difficulty with the. Okay, we'll bother with that in a second. Moving forward, you left the show and decided that you wanted to become an author, and I'm not quite sure if one came right after the other.
No, I mean, the things that I do, Elliot, every single thing that I do has come from a dream that started as a child, to be honest with you. I can go back and look at pictures and I can see myself behind a typewriter when I was around 6, and then again when I was 9, and then when I was 12, and then I was the editor of Spelman College's Spotlight newspaper, and then I became a journalist, award-winning journalist, and an investigative journalist, producer, and anchorwoman in New York City for many, many years, before the talk show and before Inside Edition. So I think that it's been a trek of dreams, really, dreams coming true and manifesting those things. I always wanted to act. I always wanted to tell stories in a different way. And, I was very blessed to grow up under the wing of Dr. Maya Angelou, who is one of the greatest writers that ever lived.
Sure.
And so to watch her and to listen to her. And I remember one day I said, Auntie Maya, how do you become a writer? And she said, well, that ominous voice. She says, well, you take a verb, you take a noun, you take an adjective, and you ball it together and throw it against the wall and watch it sing. And I was like, oh my God. I mean, that's like, everybody. And you know, she traveled in Prince's purple bus for many
No, she
years.
didn't. Really? I did not know that.
Doing so many different speaking engagements, and she bought Prince's purple bus.
No shit.
You are a rock star. And then she had it all decked out in African decor. And they would travel. I mean, she had a life, and I always wanted to write. And I think that was where my love and my talents in journalism came in handy. I think my writing really, of course, helped me write that novel.
Destiny Lingers.
Dr. Maya Angelou endorsed, by the way.
Mm-hmm. There's the cover of the book there.
Yeah, and I'm working on the screenplay for this. And very soon you're going to have the audio book for those of you who don't like to read. And my readers, many of them want a sequel. So we'll see what happens to Destiny and Chase in this romance suspense novel, which is an interracial love story about two people who got a second chance at love because they couldn't be together because of segregation.
Wow.
So it talks about race and class and all those other things. I really left the talk show, and I had an opportunity, Elliot, to really step out on a limb and get the fruit. Mm-hmm. Because that's what the fruit is. And you have to risk in life or you don't live. And everything is going to change on you. Everything is.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, you can be proactive in that and start digging deep and finding those gifts that you have that you can reinvent yourself with. And most of the things we have, we remember from childhood. Mm-hmm. And if we just took the time to go and do it, we'd see how good we are. And
okay.
You're really good. You everybody thinks you're crazy till you make money.
yeah, right. Okay, so
what are you doing that for? And get a check here and there. They'd be like, "Oh, okay, now I get it. I got it."
Which is what a lot of people are saying now. As they turn around and it's like, Rolonda is a stand-up comedian. She's a stand-up comedian. Where the hell that come from? What, girl?
You know something? It is so exciting to shock people. Because, funny, because when I go back to New York and they remember me as the anchor woman and the news reporter, and they forget I've been 23 years acting in Hollywood.
Sure.
And I've got movies, and I do voices for animation, Legos, Curious George, Cannon Busters. I'm a gamer voice for League of Legends. I mean, I'm all over the place. But when I came back and I took the stage again at Caroline's on Broadway, which is like the Taj Mahal of comics. In fact, Elliot said that Caroline's on Broadway is like what Madison Square Garden is to the NBA players.
Sure. Caroline's is it's legendary. Legendary.
And to be invited back again and again has just been marvelous. It's been a dream come true. They're so good to me. Also, I just performed at Otto's Shrunken Head down in the East Village. I'm back here in Los Angeles. I've got 2 shows coming up. One at the world famous Comedy Store, another legendary comedy club here on Sunset Boulevard. That's going to be on October 4th. Get your tickets now. And then on October 7th, on a Monday night, the other one's Friday, then on Monday, all the voiceover artists that you love so much are going to be doing stand-up comedy at Flappers in Burbank.
Wow.
So these are major clubs. We're having a great time. And you know what? I love what I'm doing. God will take care of me if I use my gifts correctly. I've got to hope and pray on that. Thank God I have backup plans.
She always does. Does she not? Does she? But you know what? Let's take a look, because when and I've got I have a tack that I want to take when we come back from this. I want to show the viewer just exactly what you're doing. And oh, by the way, here's your only warning. This is grown folk stuff. So if you got Jack and Diane in the room, or if you're still sitting in your cubicle at work, you want to change your environment, because this is good stuff. But you want to cover your ears. Here's Rolonda at Caroline's.
And your attitude just sucks when you're under menopause. It's like, and for those of you who are like squirming in your seats and you're a little too young to understand what I'm talking about, you may not have experienced it, but I'm sure you have seen it. Like when you call your mother and you go, "Ma," and she goes, "What the fuck do you want now?" That's menopause, darling. comes in the room, and she's got a portable fan, and it's cold enough to heat meat or keep the meat. And she's laying there like, is it me, or did you turn up the thermostat, or is it just me? That's menopause. When your grandmother sees you for the holiday, and she goes, hey, baby. That bitch forgot your name. We can't remember nobody's name at this age. Everybody's sweetie pie, sugar cakes, or boo-boo. We can't remember your name. Some of y'all know what I'm talking. Listen, don't even act like y'all don't know what I'm talking about, because some of y'all gonna bust out in a flash before I finish this set. Okay? I think I have earned the right of Wonder Woman because I wonder a lot about this stage in life. I wonder where my waist went. I wonder where the time went. I wonder where my money went. I wonder where Mr. Wonderful is. Because I've been waiting around for Mr. Right for so long, I've become the man I wanted to marry. And I'm not kidding, because I do all the stuff around my house I think a good man needs to be doing around about now. Like paying the mortgage, walking the dog, and doing all that man stuff, taking the trash out. I mean, because I'm the one who takes me on exotic vacations. I'm the one who takes me on romantic dinners and buys me a bottle of wine. I'm the one who buys me delicious lingerie. I'm even the one who has great sex with myself. And you know why that sex is so great? Because I listen. And I take my time. I got that 20 minutes of foreplay down pat. Let me tell you something. I had such great sex with myself one time, I went and bought me a new car. Just like a good man would do. And if you want to feel as weird as a 10-legged dog, try dating at this age. Online. I mean, come on. Our generation met people on Earth. You know? And for some of you old guys out here, just let me just tell you, can I give you some advice on, like, on this internet stuff? Don't wear the same outfit in your profile picture that you're wearing. Don't take pictures with your dog licking you in your mouth and then you want to come kiss me. No little bitty babies in your pictures. I didn't have little bitty babies, so live your little bitty babies with your babies, because no babies are little bitty babies. And finally, no other women in your pictures. I don't care if it's your daughter, your sister, no bitches in your pictures.
That is, folks. Best advice you've had all day. No bitches in your pictures.
No bitches in your pictures. Really. And people think they really do this stuff. It's crazy. I mean, you see a guy and he's got the dog licking him all in the mouth, and that's just so uncool.
Where did
you know, the good thing about those sites, though, is that for dating, they've got something for everybody.
Oh,
even for us frisky folks over 50 who are still sexy at 60. Let you know. Stuff like Our Time.
Yeah.
And you know why they call it that, Elliot?
Why? Why do they call it that?
Our time is almost up.
What you mean we?
I know. Y'all don't act like you don't know.
You're right. Don't act like you don't know, because all y'all know of a certain age. Okay, we all get that, and that's. I think that's why I love the humor so much. But it occurs to me, and we both talk to a lot of comedians in the course of our work. And as you know, a lot of good comedians, their humor comes from a very deep pain a long time ago. But I suspect that's not the case with you. Where do you find the humor? Where did you find that you had this talent?
Well, you know what? I always, I just love to be funny naturally. I mean, I just have a sense of humor, and I love humor, and I love to laugh. We did see that in the show. If you look carefully, you would see your show. You're always goofing around. Always goofing around. And in between, the breaks in the show, or before the show started, I was always warming up my audience and really fell in love with the craft. Mm-hmm. I said to my friend Kim Coles one time, I said, boy, I'd really love to do that. Well, Zip2, she's getting married, asked me to be a bridesmaid, and they're having this big comedy roast for her that WeTV is taping in this whole bit. Queen Latifah's there, Erica Alexander. I mean, this is a big deal. Mm-hmm. And she goes, I want you to do some comedy. And I said, come on, girl. Now, you know I'm not going to get up on that stage with all of these pros. And she said, I know you got 5 minutes of funny. And you said you wanted to do this. So be careful what you wish for. I got on that stage, Elliot, and 17 minutes later, I still had them laughing. Now, at that time, I was so pissed off about experiencing one of my, flashes. I was so pissed off about being in menopause when your body defies you and shit your mother never even told you about.
Yeah.
Like you spray everywhere.
Oh, believe me, and I know it from my side, but you and my wife could have great conversations, and then I could have a talk with the guys because we're getting frozen out in the house, okay? It's like, no, honey, it's already like 33 degrees. No, I'm hot. Yeah, I freeze every day, so don't tell me about menopause, okay?
Yeah, listen,
I know menopause.
It's a family issue. Trust me, believe. Everybody has to deal with it. But it's such a natural occurrence in a woman's life. And it's, you know what? And to be honest with you, Elliot, it's one of the last of the taboo topics. People just don't talk about it.
Sure.
And so for me, as a talk show host, as a woman of a certain age, and having a vehicle, a stage, and a voice, I talk about it. You know what? Menopause makes you squirm. Menopause. I'm going to talk about it. Because it's something that women should embrace as part of a natural. Now, there are definitely some changes that, you got to laugh to keep from crying with. In fact, I just did a show called Pause for a group of women who have created a whole beauty line focused on women of a certain age, 3 stages of pause. And most women don't even know there are 3 stages, but you start around 40. It means you're starting to end your period. And you start getting those flashes at the end of your 40s. When you hit 50s, the first time you go a whole year without your period, you're in menopause, baby. And as those things stop, you're in post-menopause. So you're going to be in menopause from 45 on. And I just look at my mother and say, is that going to happen to me? When she was busting out sweat. And she said, if you're lucky, which your little happy ass lived to be that. So it's a lot of fun. I don't know how I got off into that tangent, but
that's okay.
It's kind of what, and you know what? You talk about being uncomfortable. That helps great comedy. It really does, because most of the experiences we talk about were not pleasant when they happened. But as we look, how you look back on stuff and laugh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The pain of menopause. I was doing a rant like you wouldn't believe because I was so angry. I was angry at the gods. I said, you know something? Menopause is life's way of preparing us for hell. Have you ever felt temperatures that hot? I said, even Mother Nature's going through menopause with her hot flashes. It's just called global warming. So I was so pissed off, and people were on the floor because I was telling the truth. So I said, boy, if I went back and I took workshops and I studied and talked to some of the people I admire most in comedy, like the Bentley Evans and the Jamie Foxxes and the Arsenio Halls and all these people who've been D.L. Hughley, all these people who have been so supportive of me.
Sure. Kim
Coles and Kim Whitley and Lunell. These are folks who have really been supportive. And so I said, if I really took this seriously, what could I do with it? And who knows where, but I know I love it. I enjoy it. And it helps every side of what I do. I even do, somewhat political statements because I talk about, where's Leroy? Leroy used to sell reefer on the corner. He's now being replaced with Becky with the good hair. Leroy's in prison. Doing the exact same thing that Becky with the good hair is doing. With the indica. We got this really good one. It's called Orange Dream. I don't know why people in the stores talk that way out here in California.
Yeah. All the folks down at MedMen.
So it's like free Leroy.
Right. Yeah. We got a lot of people on in chat tonight. Let's see. Helen says, come to Atlanta with comedy.
I want to.
There is...
on my wish list.
Really? You haven't been to Atlanta yet? Okay, so...
I went to Spelman College, so I love Atlanta.
One lady here in...
there. No, I haven't been there to perform.
All right. Raylet Cruz says, "Hey, Spellman sister." So I was about to tell you that. I don't know if you probably don't know. There's a lot of people at Spellman, but yeah, so there's your Spellman sister.
Spellman is always great support, and my sisters, we are everywhere. We're doing all kinds of things.
Oh yeah. No, it's like Black Harvard. I mean, you go there. You don't go there to learn how to get a job. You go there to learn how to make a job. You basically come out to be entrepreneurs. So I'm not surprised.
We say Radcliffe is the Spellman of the North.
Yeah, there you go. Is this something it sounds as if this something you're going to stick with? Is it, or do you envision going back to the staid world of news at any point?
My gosh, you know something? If I went back, this is what I think.
Can I tell you? It's changed from someone who's still there in the trenches. It has changed. You don't want to go back. I'll answer for you right there.
It's changed so much. I don't know if I could. I think I would have so many knee-jerk reactions. I'd have to really think about that one. But I tell you what, though, I do know that that the comedy that I've experienced, how much I've done in 23 years doing the movies, the voiceover work. I've been a working actor for the past 23 years and continuing to develop those skills in different ways. My journalism helps my comedy writing because comedy writing is very tight. Get to the point. Where's your lead? What's the takeaway?
Right.
So these things everything helps each other. And so, if I came back and did a show today, it would be on a whole different level. It would be a whole different kind of show. And, I think that there are times, the beauty is that if something went down and I had to be serious, on the money, and put my journalistic cap on and call my resources and news and talk and all different kinds of industries at this time in my life, 40 years in all these different industries, I think that'd be one hell of a show.
Yeah, I think so. And,
that could be TV, that could be streaming, that could be on the corner. That could be on the stage. When you're a performer and you're a talk show host, that's just what you do.
Absolutely.
Satellite around and talk to people all the time the way I did in my talk show. So, if you want to put a camera on me and give me a studio and a nice salary, man, I'm there.
Have at it. She's there. So what's next? What's next? Where are you next? Where can we see you next? And what's next for Rolonda?
You can see me performing for stand-up comedy. You can see me at the Comedy Store coming up October the 4th. That's a Friday. And we're going to be performing, having a great time. Get your buddies. The tickets are only like $15 and 2 drinks. Come on, you can do that cheaply. Also, on October 7th, I'm going to be at Flappers in Burbank, joining a bunch of your favorite voiceover actors who are going to be performing stand-up comedy at Flappers. It's an annual event. If you want to break into the voiceover business, this is a great place to come and rub elbows with people who are actually in the business doing things that you hear every day.
Sure.
Also, speaking of animation, if you have kids, I'm Professor Wiseman on Curious George. I'm the voice of Mary Sinclair on the new Lego City Adventures on Nickelodeon, and also on the new Netflix Cannon Busters, I play Mama Hitch. So go on and check out on those 3 animations. Also, I have 3 movies coming out: Dweller, New Girl, and The Evil One. They just changed the name. But they're going to be coming out sometimes this fall. They're all thrillers. In one of them, I get killed. Dramatic dying scene. I've never died. Yeah, I died in one of them. But anyway, this one is a thriller. You're going to love it. And you won't know which one of the 3 I die in. But look out this fall. They're coming out. And you know what? I just keep kicking and praying. And if you need a comedian in your area you're doing I'm a great host for a awards program or your black tie events.
All right. So now I know why the jobless rate is so low. Because you got all the jobs, girl. Save some for the rest of us. Hey, any plans to come down to D.C. soon? In the D.C. area? The DMV?
I love D.C., and D.C. is also on my hit list. I think we're going to, the natural trend of doing what I'm doing is to
Sure.
set up a tour.
Yeah.
And we will figure out how to do that. I've just hired some new agents and new comedy manager, and I was on page 6 in New York, them talking about it. People are coming out because I think they're like, let's go see what Rolonda's doing now.
Hey, what's Rolonda doing? What? Right? What's she talking about now?
I started another channel on YouTube inspired by you millennial folks, but it's called the Rolonda Comedy Channel, Rolonda Watts Comedy, ROLNDA. And you can see some more clips up there. Elliot, you did such a great job, and I thank you so much for giving me so much airtime with my comedy there.
Oh, no, absolutely. It's my pleasure, because I'm so happy. It makes me so happy. I see so many people that pass through the business that we've had for so many years get to this point and then kind of like just give up. And I'm telling folks, I'm like, no, this is just getting started. You realize where things are changing, and you just got to change with it. You just got to roll with it and move into a new arena here, and it's going to be okay. So I am so happy, so glad to see you doing what you're doing, and I give you all props, and I'm a big supporter. I'm a fan, baby. I'm a fan, baby. Where can we find you? Where can we find you on social?
Well, you can find me at Rolonda Watts on IG, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and that's ROLONDA. And and also follow my podcast.
I was going to say that podcast too.
Yeah, it's called RolondaOnDemand.com. Just go there. I'm on iTunes and Spreaker, wherever you love to hear your favorite podcast. That's probably where I am, RolondaOnDemand.com. I'm part of the C-Suite Business Network. We got picked up. I just did a whole show this week on the funny business of menopause. That's a fun one. But we've got some great shows. I interviewed Carol Burnett talking about the business of being funny. I spoke with Judge Greg Mathis about the business of prison reform. I spoke with Judge Lynn Toller about how divorce courts saved her marriage. And so I've got a lot of good stuff if you want motivation. And we talk about reinvention also, because my whole thing is about reinvention. And I've got the Rolonda's Reinvention Retreat, and I do a lot of free webinars. So I think if you go right now to rolondasreinventionretreat.com, you can sign up there. And when I do my next free webinar, you'll be on the list. And that's what we talk about. I have people I got one guy who I'm coaching. He started the voiceover business. He was a nurse that started the voiceover business. He's had 2 auditions before his sessions are even up. I have another young lady who started a baby bib business online. Another woman who was a life coach who's now an actress. I'm loving transforming lives. And people are really, we're in a time of change. And just because the country's in a recession doesn't mean that you have to be.
Absolutely.
And yes, you take risk. And every day's not perfect. Trust and believe. I go through my struggles too. But I am happy. And when you're happy, the rest will come.
And we are happy you're happy. And you know, son, I'm glad that we did this. It's been a long time coming. Promise me you'll come back at some point when we got some stuff to talk about, some more stuff to talk about. Just fantastic. So happy. So happy for you. Rolonda, thank you very much for joining us here tonight. And all the best to you. All the best to you.
Well, nice having you in Shea Row.
What? What?
I said, nice having you in Shea Row, my house.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I only speak one language. Shea Room.
In French. I'm national now.
Hey, it's digital. We can do it anywhere. Shea Room, his room, her room. We can do it anywhere. Anytime you want.
Elliot, good stuff.
Rolonda, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Rolonda Watts, everybody. There she goes, and there she and her 450 jobs that she's got. Man, that woman is busy. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us this evening. It's been great. A lot of feedback in chat. We apologize for some of the technical difficulties up front, but this is the digital world, and we just roll with the punches. And if you roll with them with us, we'll roll with them with you. Thank you for joining us. Mention us to your friends. Be sure and like us on Facebook, and certainly subscribe on YouTube. Next week, we've got in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, we've got a Q&A. Greg Conley is coming back from the American Vaping Association. We got a lot of feedback from that, and there's a lot of problems, a lot of things going on with the vaping world these days with some of the sicknesses and the unfortunate deaths. Greg will be here to answer your questions, Q&A, on chat, on phone. That's in 2 weeks, right here on Now. Till then, again, thanks for joining us. Tell your friends. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time.